Hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Monday, the 6th day of November, 2023. Well, I hope y'all had a good weekend. It's been raining here off and on, so that's been interesting. We don't get a lot of rain on the high desert, but when we do, it either just dribbles a little bit or it'll rain for just a short time and then it's done. But we've been having quite a bit here the last few days. Um, the weather's gotten a little bit warmer though, so it's not 18 degrees at night. That was really fun, wasn't it? Anyhow, let's take a look at today's oracle card from the Wild and Sacred Feminine deck. It's Maiden. You can see her. It's almost like she's just embracing life with such joy, isn't it? She embodies all that's possible. She embodies innocence. She explores her world with confidence and independence. She approaches life without putting any preconditions or judgments on it, on her experiences, and she's open to exploring who she is and what she wants in life with joyful abandon. I think joyful abandon is a good phrase to use for her. She's just very innocent. She hasn't become jaded yet by the world, and I think what we forget to find that within, and to embrace that within. We don't have to become jaded in our life. We can still look upon life with wonder and joy and the innocence of the maiden in our life. So anyhow, that's the card for today, Maiden and Innocence. Let's see, let me put that right there for now. Okay, well, let's go ahead and we'll take a rune from the Elder Futhark bag for the As Above side of things, and then I'll throw down the 4 elemental geomancy runes to discover the geomancy rune for the day, which is the below side or ego side. The above side would, of course, be higher self. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by. I hope you'll click subscribe, and if you've been coming here for a while and you haven't clicked subscribe, please do. That'd be cool. Let's take a look at Laguz. Looks like a little hook. In fact, it's viewed as a magical hook to draw back energy to you. When you're in meditation, especially if you're empathic, you tend to feel things that other people are feeling. Everything that we are, everything we feel emits outward into our auric field and all of that, and that can actually be quite big depending on who you talk to. It doesn't stay contained within the body. And so if you're empathic like I am, going into really large big box stores, things like that, or places where there's a lot of people, it can be a little bit stressful because you're picking up, if you get real nervous, it's because you're picking up on the energies of other people and the emotions of other people. And very often you have to shield, put some kind of, meditative shield around you, visualize that, to kind of keep your own space to yourself. If you're somebody where people will just come up to you and start talking to you and you have no idea who they are, and they're telling you their life stories and whatnot. Typically what happened to me in the checkout lines at grocery stores, before we started doing self-checkout, right? And it's very interesting. And the thing about Laguz is you can go into a meditative state and you can chant Laguz silently or softly to yourself and visualize the energetic channels you've developed and created with other people and other situations, other memories, whatever it is. You can visualize them dissolving, and then you can draw back with Laguz what's left back to you, which is just your energy, and it doesn't involve any interaction with anything or anyone else or any memory or what have you. Other than that, Laguz, as the 21st rune of the Elder Futhark, it describes intuition and flow. It describes harmony and clairsentience. It's useful in both dream work and trance work. And it's about having emotional balance. But literally, it's about spirit flowing through at all times and recognizing that resonance within you, that higher vibratory resonance within you. and letting that flow. So again, it can be a useful tool if you're empathic, but you can use it in a cleansing ritual or purification ritual, all of that. But again, it's about keeping your vibration high and keeping the lower vibrational ego under control, essentially. So that's Laguz to start us out with. Let's see, as we flow in spirit, what the lower part of the thing has to say here with the geomancy runes. Geomancy is earth energies. It's magnetism. It can involve either the runes, it can involve ley lines, it can involve pendulum work, but basically what you're doing is you're interacting with the earth energies, which I view that as physical reality, and of course physical reality involves the ego. And so it just seems to me that it makes sense that we can do it that way. Here we have Ruby. Do we have Rubius? No, we don't. Well, let's get it in the right order here. Oh, well, yeah, actually we do. Rubius is the complement of Albus. And yes, I know those, you think those are Harry Potter references. Well, actually, they're geomancy runes, and she took those names. Fortuna Major, that was another one that she used in the film, in the films, I should say. But when you're looking at geomancy, you're looking at, in terms of the runes anyway, you're looking at complements. You're essentially looking at 8 concepts. Oh, where in the heck is it? You're looking at 8 concepts and both sides of the equation. Oh, there it is. Okay. And with Albus, you're looking at wisdom, the wisdom of the sage, basically clarity, higher awareness. That would be one side of the equation. That would be Albus. But then Rubius for today is the other side. So this would be Albus, and this would be Rubius. And so you're looking at where is wisdom coming from. And again, if we're flowing in spirit with Laguz, with Rubius, it's suggesting that that's a misuse of force. It's a misuse of ego. It can be considered an evil rune. It can be about controlling a situation that you really shouldn't be controlling others. In a way that promotes your own agenda, or somebody else is doing that today for you. And so you have to decide, are you going to flow in spirit with Laguz and emotionally cleanse yourself essentially and live in purification, or are you going to is ego going to be controlling everything you do, your reactions, your interactions with other people? And obviously, you're really looking at 2 opposites here, two opposite kinds of energies here. So you could feel that pull today toward ego, toward reacting before you really know what's going on. And Laguz is just suggesting, get yourself in a little more loosened state so that you're not basically well, it's like when you finally react to something, you've made a decision. You've made a decision to react. And so now you see something in a specific way. Laguz is suggesting, no, higher awareness is saying step back and observe, and be absolutely certain of what's going on, and maybe consider not reacting even, and adding to the mix. Because sometimes, if someone is freaking out about something and you react in a way you react badly to it, all it does is keep that energy flowing. The loop gets created, and it just keeps going and going and going. Whereas if you stand back and you give it no reaction or a loving reaction, it sort of it dispels whatever that person is going through. Maybe it gets them to calm down a little bit easier. But if everybody else is freaking out at the same time, then you have just one big freak out session, right? And nobody can really see the forest for the trees at that point. And I think but here, either someone is going to come into your life today that with Rubius that is going to be very controlling, And the last thing you want to do is be real passive with that. But you need to probably keep some of that within. That might be a way to look at this. But if this is you, you're having that struggle between trying to control a situation and stepping back and observing to try to, and in a non-judgmental way. Because again, the minute you judge, then comes the reaction. You've made a decision about how you see something. There's the reaction. And if it's a reaction where you're misusing force, if you are trying to pursue your own agenda at the expense of other people, you can see where they're really, really opposite ways of dealing with something. So let's go ahead though, and I've already done some shuffling. Let me cut the deck, and I'll take 3 cards. Well, we have 2 cards from Cups, the suit of Cups, so the water element, so that's emotion. So, and then 1 from Pentacles. Let me see what order I want to do this in. I think I'm going to start with the 5 of Pentacles. Here we have a card of destitution. There's been a change. 5 denotes change. And you see 5 pentacles are up here, sort of embedded in the stained glass window. So we can pretty much assume this is probably a church of some kind. We see the snow falling. It's pretty much a blizzard there. We see them wearing tattered clothes. One's on crutches. You can see his foot is bandaged, and it looks like there might be bandages on the feet of this person, or that at least on one of them. The other one just looks like she doesn't have any. It looks like a woman. Looks like she doesn't have any shoes on at all. The other guy on the crutches, though, he looks like he might have one boot on. But they're walking against the wind. So there's been a change in circumstances, and there's some destitution here. They've had something happen in their life. Maybe they lost their home, or they lost their job or something, but they don't have any money. They're probably homeless. And they're really having to face the elements in all of this. If the church is there, there's no way in. You don't see a door. That's just a window. Now the door may be implied, or maybe the door was locked to them, or they're so wrapped up in their circumstances they couldn't see that help was there. Or on the other hand, maybe help is not being offered, so we don't know that. So the only thing we can really say out of this card is that maybe there's been a change in circumstances in your life, and you're not sure where to turn. Maybe you're not sure where to reach out for assistance. You don't really, or guidance, or some kind of support to help you through what's going on in your life. And realistically, that's probably a really general way to say it, and it could apply to all kinds of different things that could have happened. But then we have the Ace of Cups. Now, the aces are said to embody all of the energy of the entire suit. And so we begin, so in a sense, the aces being the number 1, it's new beginnings. It's the genesis of something. And so here there could be, we see a hand reaching out from the cloud, which we always do with the aces in the Rider-Waite deck, holding a golden chalice. We see the Dove of Peace dropping a disc in the into the cup itself. You see 5 streams of water. So there you have another 5 energy here embodied in the ace. And so so maybe we can say there's been a change in emotional support for you. Maybe something is being offered to you today. You see the water nourishing the lily pads below in the pond, or in the body of water. You see this cross here on the disc that denotes, at least in my opinion, and I don't know if I have it here somewhere, so I'll just draw it out again. I used to have it on my monitor here, but I see this particular cross this way. This would actually represent the flow of spirit into physical reality. balanced with a balanced sense of polarity within, projective and receptive presence, or masculine and feminine polarity here. And ideally, we should be right here in the center, except we're not. We're usually down closer here, so that our focus is a little more here on physical reality, and we forget the spirit aspect of self, oftentimes because we get caught up in reaction and the ego and all of that. But ideally, when you see this cross here, you're looking at a balanced individual. And so in this case with cups, it's balanced emotions. And so whatever's going on here, there could be some emotional issues going on that prevent them from accepting help. Sometimes accepting help and even asking for help is a really tough thing for people to do. But when that's the case, there's a sense of emotional imbalance about the individual, because they shouldn't see it that way. If help is there and you can ask, then you need to do that, right? But then we're ashamed. We deal with shame and all kinds of things that prevent us from doing that. And I think that when you look at the dove of peace dropping that disc into the cup here and watching the water overflow, I look upon this as the dove of peace, creating emotional balance for us and letting us begin again in emotional balance. And that way, if there is an issue here where you need to ask for help, or you need to know that support is there, then you can ask, you can accept, you can do all of that. And when you do, here you have the 10 of Cups. Here you see mom and dad and the kids are all happy. Perhaps they're moving into that new home on the hill, and the kids are dancing. The mom and dad are literally welcoming the rainbow above, and here you have complete emotional satisfaction, and there's been some kind of success, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, essentially. But you can see where first you're destitute, something has changed dramatically in your life, it's affecting your material security, and somewhere along the line you realize that there is support there, and you're able to both ask for it and accept it. And then when all is said and done, I feel like we need another card in between the ace and the 10, because there's too big of a jump from here to here. So let's take another card. But at the end of it, see, you're going to have some success, and whatever affected your material security here has now been resolved with the 10. But it feels like there's something here that we need to address or to know about. So let me just shuffle just a little bit more, and let's take one more card. So we have 5, 6, and 7 so far with the cards and the overall numerology for that, plus 3 with Laguz, so that's 7 and 10 again comes to 1. So new beginnings, really. So obviously something has happened, where whatever was going on or what is going on in your life, again, support is there. Coming to some kind of acceptance of it is also an issue. And so that you can then do something, instead of just wallowing in it and being upset and, I don't know what to do. Well, there's typically things to do, and it may involve, again, asking for help. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Whenever I take an extra card, I take the 13th one. I was born on the 13th, and everything happens to me in 13s. And so I don't know. That's just my thing. You don't have to do that, though. You can develop your own thing. It's fine. It's just my process, my weird little process that I use. So here we have the 3 of Cups, and here we have 3 friends, 3 women dancing together, holding their cups high. You can see that it looks like, yes, they have flowers or some kind of garlands in their hair. You see all of this food around them, all of this abundance. Here you have, and that's really what this card is about. It's a card of integration and balance and abundance, the abundance of friendship, the abundance of love that you have with one another. So I think that it reinforces the Ace of Cups here, where yes, in fact, you had people around you, surrounding you, assisting you, giving you ideas of what to do. You may have friends or family that see the situation you're dealing with and want to offer some kind of support to you. But it tells me that it's emotional support that's there. It doesn't look like there's material support that you need, because I don't see any other Pentacles cards here. And the Suit of Pentacles, of course, is really about the material side of life and money. I mean, essentially, it's about money. But now you've got three cards, a run of three cards from the Suit of Cups, which is your emotional balance. It's change. It's momentum. It's learning to work around problems. So maybe there's something about this that helped you, or is going to be helping you work around whatever problem you're experiencing here. I hesitate to put too much emphasis about the change in circumstances and have it involve destitution here. I think that although I think that this can definitely mean that, there's not enough here to really drive that idea home. So we might want to be a little bit more general when we look at the Five of Pentacles here. Let's just call it a change in circumstances. It may not be something where you need monetary support. Maybe you already have that, and you're going to be able to deal with whatever change you have. But emotionally, there could be an emotional component here where you just can't. Given the snow, that's water. So emotionally, it could be very challenging. Whereas maybe financially, it's not so challenging, but emotionally, it could be challenging, and you just feel like you're maybe overwhelmed by it all. So I think I want to be a little careful about how I interpret this Five of Pentacles. Again, if I had something else that really gave more information about this, that would be a different story. But when I see all of the Suit of Cups here, three other cards with that's emotions. So I think maybe with the snow that's falling, we're going to link this card to the other three that way, and look at the being emotionally overwhelmed by a change in circumstances. Let's just say that maybe your relationship ended, and you don't know what to do. And it's upended things. Maybe you had to move, and you just don't feel like anybody understands what you're going through. And when realistically they probably do. There could be with Rubius here, definitely a misuse of force that started the whole process. All right. Maybe there was something that, again, maybe a relationship ended and there was some kind of misuse of force or personal agenda at work there that caused the whole thing. And that may be the Rubius aspect of this. But when you look at Laguz, Laguz is a water element rune. And so you've just got this massive amount of elemental water influence here. So I really think that you have to find your emotional balance after maybe coming to an end with a relationship, and you had to move away or whatever, move out of the house or something. But you feel like it's so emotionally challenging that you have to find some way to achieve an emotional balance from it all, integrate with others, get the support that you need that's there, that you may feel it's not, but in fact it is. And then when all is said and done, you can rebuild your life in a way that brings you tremendous emotional satisfaction. So I think that's realistically how I want to read this here. Again, if I had more pentacles here we might be able to look more deeply into that. But I really think that sometimes with these cards, you have to look at what else is there, what other elements are being presented, because it isn't just going to be one element here. Like we had, this may be the water element with cups, but here you've got pentacles here because of the home, right? That's pentacles. And so you're combining emotional satisfaction with having a new home. Maybe this whole thing that's happened here, whatever that is, if it is the end of a relationship, maybe that's the door that you need to open to have actually something better come. And it may feel overwhelming at the moment. You may feel like you don't know where to turn or who to get support from. You know, maybe your friends warned you about this person, and they're right, and boy, we hate that, don't we? Or family did, and so maybe there was some struggle there, and you're afraid to go talk to them or whatever. But what the cards are suggesting, that if this has happened, that you do have support there from friends and family, but the idea though is to deal with feeling overwhelmed by what's happened and get yourself into a little better emotional balance. And realize that you have to get there in order to heal. You have to get there in order to move forward. Otherwise, you don't really know, what to do. So you have to get a hold of yourself and settle into the truth of what's happened and say, okay, I need to get on with things here, and talk to your friends, talk to your family. Realize the abundance that you have there, the emotional abundance you have with those interactions, and then in the end, you could be finding that a whole new life awaits you, and with a lot of emotional satisfaction and success in the process. Lots of love, lots of family there. So, and again, the number 10 is. You can look at it as endings and beginnings. Essentially, if you reduce the number to 1, 1 and 0 is 1, then you're looking at new beginnings. So out of this great change, ultimately, something wonderful can take place. So no matter how overwhelming this change might feel, know that there is something better for you in the long run at the end of the day, at the end of the rainbow, the pot of gold, essentially, which is love and family and home and emotional security and fulfillment. So I guess that's it. Lots of things happening this week. We get our latest COVID booster on Wednesday, so that should be fun. We never have any problems with them. I realize we're going to get a different one. We usually get Pfizer. We're getting Moderna this time because that's what they've got. And so hopefully it will be, it'll help us stay well. We've not had COVID that we know of. We got real sick in January of 2020, but the COVID tests weren't out, so we don't know. But looking at the symptoms that people were having, I don't think so. I think it was either just a bad flu or maybe it was RSV, whatever that is. I mean, it looked like, we had some of those symptoms. I have no idea. I'd never heard of RSV before COVID came out, and then you start hearing about all these other things. I mean, our kids are grown, and so we generally don't get sick, and so but we were really, really sick. I was sick from the end of January. My husband was sick for 3 weeks. He's never sick that long. And I was sick from the end of January till the end of March. So I don't know, but we're just assuming we didn't have COVID. And because we were masking up, because we understood transmission, we understand what this is, and so you have to mask up. You can't, this 6-foot distance nonsense is nonsense, especially if you're outside. Even if you're outside and you got wind blowing, people are coughing, people are speaking, the wind blows it. So I don't know. Well, anyway, I'm not going to get into all that, but we still mask when we go to the grocery store, when we go out and about, when we're around other people. We have masks on because we know what this is, and it's not over with, and so we've gotten every shot, every booster, and We finally got in. They kept running out. They couldn't, and for like 3 weeks they couldn't even get any COVID vaccines at all. They couldn't get anything, and so they finally got them. And I called and we got an appointment. And I called a couple of weeks ago, and so we have the appointment on Wednesday of this week, and so we'll be up to date on that, and so we'll feel a little better about that, I guess. But it's just a very confusing thing, and so we stay as safe as we can, and that's just the way that is. So anyhow, so we're doing that this week, and I think that's all we have to do. But check out the blog over at Stepping Aside. There's the web address. If you click on more below the video, it opens up a box. There's lots of stuff there. But one of the things that's there is the web address to my website. And check that out. The forecast is up for the week. The daily correspondences for work and magic, if you're magically inclined, are also there. I do that weekly, do both of those weekly. And then the Exploring Tarot post is there. And I think that's the Ten of Swords. I think that's what that is. And that's an interesting card, too, I have to say. It's like, oh my gosh, 10 swords and the guy's back dead on the ground. Well, it's not a bad card. I know it looks bad, and you can interpret it that way, but I don't see it initially that way. It's just you've gone as far as you can go, and now the daylight's returning, and you have a chance to think about things in a different way, in a different light. So you see, it's a positive thing. But anyway, you can look at that over there on the blog. I also post over on Substack, on Medium, and on Patreon. And if you want to follow me over there on any of those places, that'd be cool as well. And again, click subscribe if you haven't, and come back. I do this Mondays and Thursdays, and we just take a look at what the cards and runes have to say, just to give us ideas that maybe we haven't thought of before about how to deal with things in our lives and how to think about things maybe differently again than we ever have before. So anyhow, thanks for watching. And come back again on Thursday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.